It all began in the 8th grade, a year that I would later remember as a mix of laughter, awkward moments, confusion, and some of the hardest lessons about kindness, self-respect, and standing up for myself. I had always been thoughtful and careful, someone who avoided conflict whenever possible. I liked things to be smooth, simple, and kind. I never liked hurting anyone, even if it sometimes meant hurting myself. In our small suburban school, life was usually predictable. Classrooms smelled faintly of chalk and pencils. The lockers squeaked as students hurried past, and the hallways echoed with chatter and laughter. I had my close circle of friends, a few who I trusted more than anyone else. But there was one person who stood out among the rest. Alex was popular, effortlessly charming, and someone everyone seemed to like. At first, he was just a friend. We shared notes in class, walked to the cafeteria together, and laughed at the silliest jokes. There was a comfort in his presence, a casual familiarity that made the school day lighter. But one night, after a study session at my house, everything changed. He asked me out. I remember it vividly. We were sitting in my room, the soft glow of my desk lamp illuminating the scattered papers from our homework. He looked nervous, a side of him I had never seen before, and when he asked, "Will you be my girlfriend?" I froze. The truth was, I didn't really like him that way. Not really, but I also didn't want to hurt him. I saw the hope in his eyes, the genuine smile, and I couldn't bring myself to say no, so I said yes. And just like that, we were dating. The first few weeks were awkward, but sweet. We went to the local park, walked along the quiet streets near our neighborhood, and exchanged shy smiles in the hallways. Alex could still be charming, and there were moments when I felt almost like I was in a movie. My best friend Mia noticed the change in me. "You look happy, but are you sure you're actually okay?" she asked one afternoon, leaning against the lockers. Her voice was gentle but probing, the kind only a best friend can muster. "I'm fine," I said quickly, smiling, though inside I felt a small pang of doubt. For months, things went on like this. We laughed, shared small gifts, and even had our first school dance together. But gradually, I noticed a shift. Alex started teasing me more, in ways that didn't feel playful. Sometimes he ignored me, or his comments carried a sharp edge I couldn't understand. And yet, I stayed. I told myself it was normal, that all relationships had rough patches. I reminded myself that I didn't want to hurt him, but deep down, I began to feel the weight of his distant behavior. Then came the rumors. Classmates whispered in the hallways, giggling whenever we passed. Some of them asked why I put up with him. Others questioned if I really liked him at all. The more I tried to ignore it, the louder it seemed. Even some teachers noticed the tension, their concerned glances following me during class. Alex's behavior worsened. On some days, he would be sweet and attentive. On others, he would make fun of me in front of others, dismiss my feelings, or brush off my attempts to talk. It became exhausting to constantly measure every word, every look, every text, trying not to upset him while keeping my own emotions hidden. Mia saw it immediately. "You don't have to do this," she said one afternoon as we sat on the benches behind the school. "You're kind, and that's amazing, but you don't have to let kindness hurt you." I didn't know how to respond. I wanted to be strong, but I also wanted to be fair to him. Maybe it was my own stubborn sense of responsibility that kept me in the relationship longer than I should have. The emotional tension reached a climax during a group project in class. We were paired together as usual, and I tried to contribute ideas. Alex, in front of the class, dismissed them with a sarcastic laugh. My face burned as I felt the whispers of classmates around us. My heart pounded, a mixture of anger and hurt. For the first time, I realized I had been prioritizing his feelings over my own happiness for far too long. That evening, I spoke with Mia. She held my hand, steady and unwavering. "You deserve to be treated with respect. You have a voice, and you have a choice. Don't let fear of hurting him keep you from standing up for yourself." The next day, I made my decision. During lunch, when Alex tried to brush off a comment I had made, I stopped him. My voice was calm but firm. "Alex, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending everything's okay when it isn't. I care about you, but I also need to care about myself. I think it's better if we end things." There was a pause. The cafeteria seemed to hold its breath. Alex looked shocked, maybe even a little hurt, but he said nothing. I didn't wait for an argument. I walked away, my chest tight but free. The days that followed were hard. Some classmates whispered, others stared, but I felt a quiet strength growing inside me. I reconnected with friends, focused on school, and discovered the freedom in being honest about my feelings. Mia was always there, cheering me on, reminding me that my kindness did not mean I had to sacrifice my own well-being. Weeks later, I reflected on that year. I had learned something invaluable. Being kind didn't mean letting others hurt you. And saying no or ending something that didn't serve you wasn't cruel, it was necessary. I had learned to trust myself, to set boundaries, and to understand that true friendship and love required respect. The experience stayed with me, shaping how I approached relationships in the future. I realized that the lessons weren't just about Alex or our awkward 8th grade romance. They were about learning to value myself, my feelings, and my voice. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free.